I recreated the Foo Fighters' Best of You, so let's take a listen. Hello everyone, welcome back to Make the Music, and in today's video I recreated the Foo Fighters classic Best of You. I've loved the song for a long time. Foo Fighters, a legendary rock band, of course. Dave Grohl, former drummer in Nirvana, and just overall rock icon, especially in this world where it feels like there's less and less rock stars. So I dove into this song and I recreated it from scratch in my DAW, which is Reaper. I'm using a Pro Tools skin. If you want to download the skin I'm using for this video, you can go to the description down below and download the free guide there. You could also get access to a bunch of other free stuff, including my home studio toolbox, which gets you a bunch of free plugins and tools to help you get started in the home studio. Anyways, let me jump into the session and break down and show you how I got the sound for Foo Fighters' Best of You. And if you want the full playthrough of the song, just head to the end of the video if you want to listen to the full thing. Anyways, let me dive into my session now. So this is my session for Foo Fighters' Best of You. Not a lot of tracks here. This is kind of just a straightforward hard rock song. The vocals were particularly difficult on this one because, Dave Grohl, he's got a great voice, so aggressive. It was tough for me to match that, but I did my best here. Let's start off with maybe something like the master bus chain, which I kept very, very simple. I use virtual mix rack. I'm trying to get somewhat of a analog feel. We know Dave Grohl, he's kind of a purist when it comes to rock. He doesn't like doing too much in terms of quantizing. He likes recording analog, which is super cool. I think that's a cool vibe for sure. He's using the virtual mix. I'm using the virtual mix bus, and then I'm using a little bit of lift and presence with the virtual mix rack. Also using some re-EQ. This record is not ultra bright. There's a lot of mid-range, so I added a little bit of low mids in. Using the SSL compressor just to kind of hit the track, a little bit, give it some compression. It's like close to 40 dB there, and then a limiter to bring it up to volume. So that's the master bus chain, pretty straightforward. What did I use for drums? I used something very simple. I used Easy Drummer 3. I know a lot of people have Easy Drummer 3. I just used the Studio Basic kick. I just messed with the snare a little bit. It's the DW Jazz series, and I just brought it up in tuning. It's a kind of a high tuned snare on this track. Kick wise, I think the rest of the kit is pretty standard. It's not like an ultra crazy unique drum sound. It's just played really well, of course. So the drums sound like this. Then during the solo, they sound like this. It's just a pretty standard rock kit sound. I didn't even mix the kit. I now realize that. I just used the mixer. I didn't really even change much, honestly. So Easy Drummer 3 out of the box, you can get amazing drum sounds, and that's what I did here. Sounds great to me. I have a tambourine part that's panned all the way to the left. Easy Drummer 3, again, is what I'm using for that. And all that's doing is I'm using the tambourine steel 1. And it just adds a little bit of rhythm to the drum sound, and I could hear it in the track. Pretty straightforward. Drums, tambourine, you've got pretty much a good rhythm section if you have a good song. Let's get into the bass guitar. What did I do for that sound? This is what the bass guitar sounds like soloed. So I have two signals. I have a DI signal, which is the direct input going into my Focusrite interface. And then I have an amped sound. They're both the same signal, but I'm processing them each differently. For the amp sound, I used Amplitude 5. And I'm just using, an Ampeg sound, basically, with a cab. I just loaded up the default, went with it. I gave it some extra mid-range and gain to give it a little bit of push. And for processing, I used the virtual mix rack. Added some virtual drive to give it some grit. Give more of an analog flavor. I used the CLA 76 on the Start Me Up preset. So you can see at times it's doing up to 20 dB of gain reduction. So hitting it pretty hard there with, I would say a slower attack, medium release. And I used the SSL channel just to kind of give it some finalizing EQ. I'm taking out some low mids, but adding some like 100 sub and some top to get the stringiness and attack of the bass. Let's go do a part like this here. can even hear the distortion kind of kicking in. So if I take all the processing off, it's super transient all over the place. Add in the processing. You can hear the low end more clearly. So if we have the bass and drums together, it just sits nicely with that rhythm section. Let's get into the guitar parts. So for the guitars, I'm using, it looks like Amplitude 5 for all the guitar parts. We know Dave Grohl, he likes Vox sounds, Fender Deluxe sounds for his rock parts. In terms of arrangement, there's 5 parts. So there's the guitar, rhythm, right, and left, which are the main parts. Playing that main riff. So this is the Amplitude 5 patch. I used a Vox sound. You can see this is like a Vox cab. I have a couple different mics, a condenser, like a Neumann U87 and an SM57. I'm using a little bit of drive, it looks like, this diode overdrive pedal. And then I have like a X space reverb on it to give it a little bit of space in the mix. So if I take that off, you can see it just gives the guitar tone a little life, but it's really simple. I'm just using the Vox, I'm pushing it in volume, putting some microphones on it. Nothing too much to go over with that. Then there's some lead parts. We have this lead part here, which is like a single note string part. I have that kind of panned to the right a little bit. I'm using Slate Overloud. I have the drive pedal on. This is another Vox sound. I just wanted a different color of sound, so I used a different amp sim. And then I used, this is just another Alinco cab, so like a Fender Deluxe cab. Not a lot of gain on that one. And then for the second lead, this is like the octave part that we can hear kind of kicking in. Same thing, I use the Overloud with the Vox setting again. I think these are just the same exact settings. But since they're slightly different voicings and cabinets in the Amplitude sound, they're going to blend nicely because they're just kind of variations on the same sound. So if you have too many rock guitars with like the same amp and same settings, they're all going to start to blend because they're all in the same EQ curve. But if you're using slightly different cabinets, slightly different mic positions, that's where you get that big, almost orchestral guitar sound because there's some variation there. Now let's get to, I have a solo guitar part. That sounds like this. I'm using that same Vox sound with the drive, but I've got some extra delay and reverb thrown on. So I got this digital delay and this room reverb, adding some ambience to the whole thing, making it stereo. That's all going through this processing the guitars. I'm using the SSL channel, rolling off everything looks like below or above 4K, and then rolling off everything below about 35 hertz. I wanted to keep the beef in the guitar though, and I added some upper mid-range to kind of just give the guitar some bite. And then EQ, I'm scooping out a little bit of low mids and adding more bite to them. So it was just too flat. I added a lot of mid-range push with the EQ. So with the track, it's sounding like this. There's an acoustic guitar part. This is in really kind of quietly. But it's adding a little bit of texture. I'm using the SSL channel to boost a lot of top end, get rid of low mid-range. The Fresh Air plugin from Slate, which I believe is free still, boosting a bunch of highs. Stock EQ to take out a frequency I didn't like, and then I'm using the LA for some compression on the limiter setting. So that's blending in with the guitars there. Now let's get to the Dave Grohl vocal sound. I did my best here. I really tried to be purist with this, no tuning, not a lot of timing correction, just pure performance. So let's see how I was able to do here. The vocals soloed, for example, during a part like this sounds like this.
I was too weak to give in, too strong to lose.
It's so hard to sing with his level of aggression, but I did my best here. In terms of processing, I have a Metatune plugin on the lead. This isn't doing any tuning. This is just giving that doubled sort of chorusy effect, and so I'm using a doubler here to kind of enhance that effect.
I was too weak to give in, too
because Dave Grohl is known for that almost doubled chorusy vocal sound. And to do that in the arrangement, I made the lead and double basically the same volume. So the same volume, they're kind of phasey, they're kind of chorusy. And then I have some doubles panned right and left at a little lower volume. But in terms of vocal processing, I try to keep it minimal. SSL channel, adding some top, rolling off a little bit of low end with it. We'll build this vocal chain one at a time here.
I was too weak to give in, too strong to lose.
Then I'm using the stock compressor from Reaper, modern vocal preset.
My heart is under arrest again.
It looks like a ton of gain reduction, but I have the wet meter at 36%. So it's like a parallel compression essentially. And a parallel compression just means that you're squashing one signal and then kind of bringing it up to blend in with the original vocal sound. So I did that there. CLA 76, I really wanted to compress this hard, so I'm using the blue channel CLA 76.
My heart is under arrest again.
That's just the sound of rock vocals, about 10 dB of gain reduction there. And then the limiter, so that even when these doubles come in, it's all kind of reined in.
Someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you.
I didn't even use a de-esser. I used the Silk Vocal Stereo, which is just, when you have that many limiters and compressors and distortion on, you want to kind of just rein in the vocal a little bit there and keep some of these really peaky frequencies. And the Silk Vocal is a great plugin to do that.
Someone getting the best, the best, the best, the
gets rid of the harshness. And then Valhalla Supermassive is just giving a nice reverb in the background. I don't want a reverb up front. It's not supposed to sound big and reverby, but just give the vocals a space to live in.
Someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you.
They sound a little more epic and grand in the track.
Has someone taken your faith? It's real. The pain you feel, you trust, you must, you bet. Is someone getting the best, the best, the best, the best of you?
So anyways, that's how I recreated Foo Fighters' Best of You. This was a very fun one to do. It's a great track from that era. I'm going to do a full playthrough of the track. If you want my Reaper skins, if you want some tips and tricks and extra plugins for getting great sounds of your home studio, check out my free guides in the description down below. It's 100% free, and go ahead and download that. Anyways, let's do a full playthrough of the song. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know if you'd like to see me try and attempt to recreate any other songs in my DAW. It's always a good challenge. Let's do the full playthrough now of Foo Fighters' Best of You.
I needed someone